You're watching the News Hour at 9.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today was a historic day for India. A daughter of the country's tribal population took oath as the highest constitutional position in this country. A Dalit president handing over the baton to India's first president from the scheduled tribes. And I was present in Parliament. And it was a scene that would give anybody goosebumps as the Chief Justice of India gave the oath to the new president and the former president made way and welcomed the new president to her seat. Murmu has been a source of inspiration for many young Indians as she took office today. Her appointment has reduced the metaphorical gap between the country's power circles and the back of beyond villages that hope for a better tomorrow. These villages, occupied by these scheduled tribes, today would have felt the distance reducing between their villages and Raisina Hill. But even this watershed moment, as the Prime Minister described it, was not without controversy. Congress members of Parliament, both in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, wrote a letter alleging deliberate insult to Mallikarjun Kharge during the event. They alleged that Kharge was seated in the corner by the central government and that he was not given the protocol that his stature as a leader of opposition deserved. Now take a look at these images on your screens. 10 years ago, when Pranab Mukherjee was taking oath as the President of India, the then leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Arun Jaitley, the late Mr. Arun Jaitley, was seated in exactly the same arrangement. Hours after the Parliament got down to business, or at least tried to, there was complete pandemonium on the floor of the House. Proceedings in the Parliament have been suffering since the monsoon session began. Last week, with slogans being raised against the centre, the members of Parliament running into the well of the House, holding signs in protest, in fact, placards in protest. But today was the last straw for the Lok Sabha Speaker. 4 members of Parliament of the Congress party have now been suspended for the remainder of the Parliament session after repeated warnings by the Speaker went unheard. Even the Prime Minister sent a subtle but a firm message to his opponents. India first, ideologies later. Listen in.
दल का विरोध, व्यक्ति का विरोध, देश के विरोध में न बदलें। विचारधाराओं का अपना स्थान है और होना भी चाहिए। राजनीतिक महत्वाकांक्षाएं तो हो सकती हैं, लेकिन देश सबसे पहले है, समाज सबसे पहले है, राष्ट्र प्रथम है।
So the legitimate question we are asking on the News Hour tonight: who's devaluing democracy? That's the question and the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining the debate with Shehzad Poonawala, Tehseen Poonawala and Ishkarn Bhandari is senior journalist Ashutosh. Ashutosh, who would you blame? Placards being brought up, and if I give you the figures of the amount of work that has happened, 16% of parliamentary activity in Lok Sabha last week, 10% on day 1, 8% day 2, 15% day 3, 30% day 4 and 17% on day 5. That's the last week of Parliament. Do you think this can carry on? And if the Speaker in the House is not allowed to conduct the House, who do you think is to be blamed?
Obviously, the government at the center has to be blamed. And I'm quoting Sushma Swaraj verbatim, September 2012, when Sushma Swaraj said, anyway, it is the government job to run the parliament, not that of the opposition. So the similar medicine, I think the BJP is getting now. And not only the Sushma Swaraj, but also the late and the great leader, Mr. Arun Jaitley, has also said the similar thing. He said the disruption of the House is also a part of democratic process. So now if BJP is in the government and Congress party in opposition, so obviously they are using the same tactics which the BJP did. But the point today is, I think it's a very harsh punishment which has been given to these member of parliaments. And if somebody had gone by the similar logic, then the entire monsoon session which was washed out in 2012, all the member of parliament from the BJP would have been suspended for the entire session. I think it's very harsh, and I think Speaker should understand that opposition has a right to protest. And carrying a placard, I don't think it's something which deserves such great punishment. Even you go to the London, you go to the Britain Parliament, even the similar tactics are used. The member of parliament, they go to the well, they raise their slogans, they use placards, but I don't think they meet such harsh punishment.
Shehzad Poonawala.
संविधान, संसद, सेना का अपमान कांग्रेस की एकलौती पहचान, क्योंकि महंगाई बहाना है, संसद अटकाना है, राहुल गांधी को भाग जाना है, इनको सिर्फ संसद को हॉस्टेज बनाना है। और मैं आपको बताता हूं, क्योंकि इनको विवाद चाहिए, संवाद नहीं चाहिए, इनको डिस्ट्रप्शन चाहिए, इनको डिस्कशन नहीं चाहिए, इनको कॉन्फ्रंटेशन चाहिए, कॉन्वर्सेशन नहीं चाहिए, और इनको केवल फर्जी मुद्दे लाना है। इनके मुद्दे क्या है? मुद्दों की कंगाली आपने देखी है।
फर्जी मुद्दे, जीएसटी और महंगाई फर्जी है? फर्जी
नहीं है वो, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ। जयराम रमेश जी जब से आए उनके मुद्दे बता रहा हूँ। शेर गुस्सा क्यों है? बैन वर्ड क्यों हो गया, जो एक्सपेंस लिस्ट की श्रेणी में आया था? धरना बैन क्यों हो गया, वो झूठ साबित हुआ। ईडी इन्वेस्टिगेट क्यों कर रही है करप्ट को? और फिर आखिरी वाला कि खड़गे जी को साइड में क्यों बिठाया? ये है तस्वीर। अरुण जेटली जी, स्वर्गीय अरुण जेटली जी को वहीं बिठाया जहां पर खड़गे जी को उल्टा उनके लिए आगे व्यवस्था करने की कोशिश भी की गई। और सैटरडे का जो फंक्शन था वहां तो प्रधानमंत्री के पास बिठाया था, पर वो गए नहीं। मतलब कि उन्होंने किस प्रकार से अपमान किया राष्ट्रपति का। परंतु सवाल ये है नाविका जी, ये कहते हैं ना, ये देखिए मैं तो आशुतोष जी की बहुत प्रशंसा करता हूं, परंतु वो आधा सत्य इनके हिंदी, सत्य हिंदी जो है ना, उसको आधा सत्य हिंदी बना देना चाहिए। क्योंकि जब 12 एमएलए भाजपा के उनको सस्पेंड किया गया, किस लिए? महाराष्ट्र में, क्योंकि उन्होंने प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर के चेंबर में कुछ बोला, तब इन्होंने उसका समर्थन किया और उसको सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस सस्पेंशन को निरस्त किया। पर यहां पर, और टाइम्स नाउ की एक्सक्लूसिव स्टोरी थी नाविका जी, ये किस प्रकार से ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट है, थोड़ा सा प्रिंट आउट, पर किस प्रकार से मार्शल को पीटा गया। टेबल पर खड़े होने का काम भी लंदन की पार्लियामेंट, यूके की पार्लियामेंट में होता है क्या? आपने देखा? ये बाजवा जी की तस्वीर है। बाजवा जी खड़े हो गए थे पार्लियामेंट में और फिर वो बुक फेंक रहे थे। ये पता नहीं कौन से वेस्टमिनिस्टर मॉडल को देखकर आए होंगे। अच्छा, इनको सिलेक्टिव हिंदी भी बोल सकते हैं, सत्य हिंदी को अर्ध सत्य हिंदी, और फिर सिलेक्टिव हिंदी क्यों बोल सकते हैं? क्योंकि स्वर्गीय अरुण जेटली जी ने कब बोला था? जब आया था और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर के बाद भी ये लोग डिस्कशन करने को तैयार नहीं थे, तब उन्होंने स्टेटमेंट किया था। परंतु एक स्वर्गीय व्यक्ति के बारे में भी झूठ बोलना, ये अर्ध सत्य हिंदी का लक्ष्य हो सकता है। ये मनमोहन सिंह का बयान, हाउएवर, वी शुड आल्सो पुट ऑन द टेबल ऑफ टाइम्स नाउ। दिस बयान इज, ऑपोजिशन शुड नॉट डिस्टर्ब पार्लियामेंट, दे शुड कोऑपरेट विद गवर्नमेंट टू रन द हाउस। मनमोहन सिंह, तो मनमोहन सिंह को भी तो लीडर मानते होंगे, आशुतोष जी उन्हीं की पार्टी से है। सॉरी, अच्छा सॉरी, आप प्रवक्ता नहीं है, सॉरी।
तहसीन पूनावाला, Tehseen Poonawala, I want to ask you, what is suffering in all of this? The debate on issues that concern the public? Because tomorrow again you will be very busy, because Sonia Gandhi has to go back to Enforcement Directorate, so there will be no members of parliament in Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. They'll be on the streets. Right. So tomorrow also no discussion, today also no discussion. Who's suffering?
Allow me to answer each of those things. The BJP that got cash inside parliament, shamelessly bought cash inside parliament, today I have an objection to placards inside parliament. Arun Jaitley ji said this, and you know this, that he will not allow the government to discuss and have discussions in parliament because it's a right of the opposition to stop discussions in parliament. Today, please, can I please, don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. You're not allowing the views. You're not allowing the views. The fact is, they want to talk about GST. Where is it on the list of business? They don't put it on the list of business. When the MPs are
simply because it has been brought to your notice that the finance minister is down with COVID and she will respond to that. The finance
minister is down. The prime minister cannot come in the house and speak. The prime minister doesn't understand the economy, so he can't come in the house and speak. Let me put one thing. He put out a picture of Bajwa ji. Do you know Bajwa ji is my friend? Bajwa ji was not suspended. You know why Bajwa ji was not suspended? Because they are Punjab elections. They didn't suspend Bajwa ji. They are using his pictures. This is the hypocrisy of the बड़ा झूठा पार्टी, the भारतीय जनता पार्टी।
देखिए, मैं इनको कहता हूँ ये ऑल इंडिया कंफ्यूज कांग्रेस है। ऑल इंडिया कंफ्यूज कांग्रेस क्यों?
अरे गुली झोल पार्टी, आप गुली झोल पार्टी हो।
One minute. Is this an abbreviation? Education competition.
Congress party is deciding between Ashutosh and Tehseen किसको राज्यसभा भेजना है.
1 minute.
मैं कुछ रख रहा हूँ नाविका जी के.
Did you bring cash inside Parliament?
Why?
Because
no, you don't bring it inside Parliament.
Anyways, now let me answer the question. After they stall the house and waste 55 crores, Jairam Ramesh नए बने हैं, ये tweet करते हैं, today the opposition led by Congress got the Rajya Sabha adjourned for the day on urgent issue. मतलब, is this a matter of pride? This is his tweet. I know he does not like this tweet to be shown, but this is the proof of how you are trying to take the house hostage. If you are so bothered about discussion on GST, tell us who was the person in GST Council.
Frankly, Ishkarn Bhandari, is there anything to choose from as far as stalling of the house is concerned? I mean, everybody is citing examples. What happened when the BJP was in opposition is what's happening today. Who's the loser? Who's paying? Who's picking up the tab for these lost hours? You and me, my friend.
Navika ji, the problem is bigger than stalling the parliament. Then the message goes, if you don't like a law, like Shaheen Bagh, stall the roads. If you don't like the law, burn the trains. If you don't like the law, remove the railway tracks. That is the message which goes when people see that the parliament gets stalled on the whims and fancies of a party which is in opposition. And I agree with just one part of Ashutosh. It's the duty of the government to run the parliament. So they are suspending people who are making it impossible to run the parliament, whether it be a school room, whether it be a college, whether it be a news studio, whether it be a parliament. If you make it impossible for a debate to occur, you will tell people to leave. Similarly, that is what you have to do in order to make the parliament run after repeated warnings. I am not in favor of doing it in the first go, but after repeated warnings, if you don't allow a parliament to function, they have to take action to make it function. Simple as that.
Well, the last count in 2012, there was a figure of running parliament. The cost to the exchequer is 2.5 crore one day. Think about the number of days that is lost. And that's the money the taxpayers pay. They don't get a tax break for this because they are not in parliament. They're outside just watching this tamasha while political brownie points are being scored between the treasury benches and the opposition benches. We, the people of India, are being held hostage. Who's responsible is a question people of this country will have to decide. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the Newshour tonight. Good night. Be safe.